Hello my yarny friends, I'm Sara Sach. Welcome back to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet our denim cape shawl. And it's a wonderful open and lacy stitch. Really easy and fun. Works up really fast. And it goes with just about any of your spring, summer, or even fall outfits. Pair it with the sundress, a tank top, over a bathing suit, anything. And the neat thing about this particular yarn is it's called blue jeans. So you can pair it with anything and it will go, because blue jeans go with absolutely everything. Now this pattern has 4 sizes: small, medium, large, and extra large. But it's super easy to add extra length to if you're a taller person, or less length if you're short like me. And it's really fun. It's very loose hanging. It drapes beautifully, comfy, and made to fit loose. So keep that in mind when you're stitching one up. Now you can find the complete pattern with pictures on my blog, and as always, I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. To make our blue denim spring cape, you're going to need some Colorfusion from Premier, which is a light 3 DK yarn. And of course, you can use any DK or light 3 yarn that you want to. But I absolutely love all the blue tones in this yarn. Isn't it gorgeous? And the name of this one is called Blue Jeans. And I love that. It's like every color of blue jeans I had when I was growing up. All right, you're going to need about 6 ounces, depending on the size that you make. If you make it a little bit smaller, a little less. If you make it a little bit bigger, a little more. Now this pattern is a big roomy pattern, and it has 4 sizes. It goes from small to extra large. But it's really super simple to just continue to make it as long as you want. Say you're tall, but you're skinny and you want to make it longer, just add more rows. Or maybe you're like me and you're shorter and you may need a little bit bigger of a size. I can do less rows, because once you get started, it's basically a 1-row repeat. And it's super easy. Works really fast, and it looks good in lots of different colors. I just really loved this, and I thought it was perfect for spring. You can wear it with a jean skirt, jeans, jean shorts, anything you want to, because denim goes with everything, right? All right, so you're going to need about 6 ounces of your light 3 or DK yarn. Again, I'm using Premier Colorfusion DK in the blue jeans colorway. All right, and then I have a bunch of buttons out here. You're going to need a button or two depending on how you want to attach it at the neck. And I haven't decided, but I really love wooden buttons. And the size can be kind of up to you. Anywhere from a 3/4 inch to 1 1/4 inch. I think this one might be right at 1 inch. I can't remember. Okay, but these are just some different types of wooden buttons that I have on hand. I really love this color, but I really like this size. So I haven't decided yet. And if you saw the beginning of the video, you probably already saw the pictures where I already decided which button I wanted to use. I think I'm leaning towards this one. I like the color of it. All right, we're going to be stitching today with an eye hook, which you think when you're using a light 3 or DK weight yarn would be too big, but we want this to be big, roomy, and loose. And so we're using an eye hook, which is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, because again, we want our stitches to be loose and lacy. All right, and then besides that, you need a needle, and make sure when you choose a needle, you can get it through the holes. All right, if the holes on the button are too small, you may have to grab another needle just so that you can sew on your button. But we'll also be using this, of course, to weave in ends. And then the last thing you need is a pair of scissors. We're going to be starting at the neck of our cape, and then we'll work back and forth around until it's the length that we want. Because we want the neck of our cape shawl to be a little bit stretchy, we're going to begin with foundation double crochets. All right, now we're going to be having 4 sizes, and so I'm going to be making the small, and I will do 66 foundation double crochets for the small size. For the medium size, you'll need to do 70 foundation double crochets. For the large size, you'll need to do 74, and for the extra large, you'll need to do 78 foundation double crochets. I suggest, if you're not sure what size you want to make, that after you stitch your first row, grab your tape measure and measure it and see if it's the length that you want it to be. I should say the width that you want it to be for around your neck. All right, so I'm going to be doing the small size for our demonstration, and so I'm going to stitch 66 foundation double crochets. If you've never done a foundation double crochet, I'm going to show you how to do it. So we make our slip knot and we chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to stitch, yarn over, go in that 4th chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, and only go through that first loop. All right, you've made your chain. Now we have 3 loops, so we're going to yarn over, go through the next 2, yarn over, and go through the last 2. So what we've done is we've made our chain and our double crochet stitch. Yarn over, go in where you made the chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through the first loop. Now we're going to finish our double crochet. And that's how simple the foundation double crochet is. And I love to use it when I want something that's going to need a stretchy band. Again, yarn over, go in the chain that you made, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through just the first loop, yarn over, go through the next 2, yarn over, and go through the next 2. All right, so let's repeat how many stitches that we need. For the small, we need 66, and make sure you count this chain 3 that we skipped at the beginning as your first stitch. So size small, we need a 66. For size medium, we need 70. For size large, we need 74. And for extra large, we need 78 foundation double crochets. And remember, I'm going to have 66 because I'm using the size small as a demo. So since I'm making the small size, I have 66 foundation double crochets. And you'll notice I have some stitch markers. And stitch markers are a great way to keep track of your counts when you're making a long chain or a long row of foundation double crochets. All right, so I'll go ahead and pop those out. Just a tip that I learned along the way to help me with counting. And once you've done 10 and you mark it, you don't have to keep recounting. And you can just go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and then sit those 6 additional stitches. Stitch markers are our friend. Alrighty, so now we're ready for row 2. Alright, the pattern is stitched the same for all the sizes. The only difference is when you do larger sizes, since I'm doing the small one, you're going to have more stitches and more repeats, of course. Alright, so I have 66 foundation double crochets, and I'm going to chain 3. No matter the amount that you made, chain 3, and we're going to turn our work. And what we're going to do is we're just going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of those foundation double crochets. And as you stitch, because we're using that eye hook instead of a smaller hook with this thinner yarn, you're going to notice that it is open and lacy. And that's exactly the way we want it to look, because this is a spring, summer, and fall, of course, type Cape Shawl. We want it to be stretchy and open. All right, so no matter the size, we chained 3. That chain 3 counts as your first double crochet, and then we're placing a double crochet in each of the foundation double crochets across. And again, it's an open, loose, lacy, comfortable stitch. I stitched 1 double crochet in each of our double crochets around. We have the same number that we started with, minus 66. I'm going to chain 3, and we're going to turn. We're going to stitch a double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3. And then we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets around, and when we get to that last double crochet, we're going to stitch 2 in the last double crochet, and this is going to cause us to increase by just 2 stitches. All right, so just to repeat, we stitched a double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3. We're going to double crochet all the way to the end, and then in our last stitch, we're going to stitch 2 double crochets. And again, remember to keep your tension loose and lacy. I have completed row 3, almost. We're at the last stitch, and we're going to stitch 2 double crochets in our last stitch. And that gives us an increase of 2 stitches. All right, if you have 70, now you have 72. Then if you had 74, now you have 76. And if you had 78, now you have 80 double crochets for your sizes. All right, we're going to chain 3. We're going to turn our work, and again we're going to double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3, and then 1 double crochet in the next stitch. All right, so now we're going to get ready for our repeat rows. So we're going to chain 2, we're going to skip 1 double crochet and double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 2, skip 1 double crochet and double crochet in the next stitch. And so we're chaining 2, skipping 1 double crochet, and then 1 double crochet in the next. Chain 2, skip 1, 1 double crochet in the next. And see how that looks? And we'll repeat this all the way around until we reach those last 3 stitches. And again, this is setting us up for our repeat rows. So we stitched 1 double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3, and then 1 in the next. Chain 2, skip 1, double crochet in the next, all the way across our row. Now when we get to the end, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches left. So we double crochet, chain 2, we're going to skip the next stitch, and we're going to double crochet in the last 3 stitches. So that made our row only increase by 1 because we increased at the beginning but not the end. All right, and then we'll go ahead and chain 3. And this is how it should look at this point. Isn't that pretty? So now we're ready for row 5. We're going to double crochet in the next 2 double crochets because our chain 3 counts as our first. We're going to chain 1 and we're going to go right in this chain 2 space and stitch a V stitch, which is a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Now we'll chain 1, stitch a V stitch in that chain 2 space, double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet, chain 1. And we'll do this all the way across this row. Chain 1, V stitch in the chain 2 space. And this is where you're going to begin seeing it flare out, okay? Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, which is a V stitch, of course, and chain 1, and repeat. And when you look at that, you can already see it, like I said, start to flare out to form our cape. Well, I have a knot, so I need to fix that. But we're going to repeat chain 1, V stitch in each of our chain 2 spaces, all the way across our row. I completed row 5, stitching our V stitch, chain 1 in each of those chain 2 spaces. Okay, and then when we get to the end here, here's my last V stitch, chain 1. We're just going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of those last 3 double crochet stitches. And chain 3. And so now you can see how we're starting to form the shape of our lacy loose cape shawl. And it looks really pretty at this point already. And remember, depending on the size that you make, the opening will be larger or smaller. Okay, this is the small size. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to basically repeat what we did. Okay, it's not an exact repeat because we're going to be stitching in the chain 1 spaces of our V stitches. All right, so let's do row 6. We've chained 3. We're going to stitch a double crochet in the next 2 double crochets. We're going to chain 1 and stitch a V stitch in the chain 1 space of the next V stitch. And chain 1. Then we'll go to the next chain 1 space of the next V stitch and stitch a V stitch, which again, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and chain 1. And this is what we'll repeat all the way across this row. V stitch, in the V stitch, and chain 1. And again, we're only stitching in the chain 1 spaces of the V stitches from the previous row. Put this so you can see this. There we go. V stitch, chain 1, V stitch, chain 1, all the way across. We'll repeat this all the way across our row. until we reach those last 3 double crochet stitches. I have completed row 6, and on row 6 we did 1 double crochet in the first 3, chain 1, V-stitch in the V-stitches, chain 1 spaces around. So chain 1, V-stitch, chain 1, V-stitch all the way around, working in those chain 1 spaces of the previous V-stitches. Okay, and then we chained 1 and ended with 3 double crochets. So for row 7, we're just going to repeat row 6. So I've chained 3, turn our work, 1 double crochet in the next 3, chain 1, and V-stitch in the chain 1 space of the V-stitch. And chain 1. V-stitch in the chain 1 space of our V-stitch. And chain 1. So we're just going to repeat this all the way around just like we did on row 6. And then when we get to the end, we'll chain 1 and then 1 double crochet in those last 3 stitches. So row 7 is just a repeat of row 6. So I have completed row 7, which was just a repeat of row 6. All right, and then we chained 1 here, 1 double crochet in the last 3, and chain 3. Now for row 8, we're going to do it similar. The only difference is instead of chaining 1 between our V-stitches, we're going to chain 2 between our V-stitches. And that's going to give us even more flare. All right, let's do row 8. So we've chained 3, we've turned our work. We're going to double crochet in the next 2, 1 and 2. We're going to chain 2 instead of chaining 1 and stitch a V-stitch in the chain 1 space of the previous row's V-stitches. And so the difference is we're chaining 2 and then V-stitch in the V-stitch in that chain 1 space, chain 2, V-stitch in the chain 1 space and chain 2. And like I said, this is going to cause even more flare because remember, we want this to be a big, roomy, comfortable cape shawl that you can wear with just about anything. Alrighty. And so now what we're going to do for 4 more rows, row 8, row 9, row 10, and row 11, is what we're doing here. This is, of course, row 8. 3 double crochets, chain 2, V-stitch in our chain 1 space of our V-stitch, and repeat across, and then end with 1 double crochet in the last 3. And we're going to repeat this for 4 rows. I have now completed 4 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, with the chain 2s in between. And that brings us up to row 11. So now what you're going to do for row 12, 13, 14, and 15 is you're going to do the V-stitches the same, only you're going to chain 3 between the V-stitches. So for row 12, 13, 14, and 15, you'll have chain 3s between your V-stitches. And then once you do those 4 rows, for row 16, you're going to have chain 4s between. And then you'll finish your project with V-stitches with chain 4s for the length of your cape. Just to repeat so that you understand what we're doing is we did those 4 rows with chain 2s in between our V-stitches. Now you're going to do 4 more rows, 12, 13, 14, and 15 with chain 3s in between your V-stitches. Once you've completed those 4 rows, for the rest of your cape, you'll do chain 4s between your V-stitches. So if you want to make yours the length that mine is made, you'll need to do those 4 rows, 12, 13, 14, and 15 with chain 3s between. And then after that, at row 16 through row 40, you'll do chain 4s between. And you can continue that for as long as you want, or you can make it shorter, depending on the length that you need for you or the person that you're making this for. So here is my actual shawl. We started at the top, and then we did that open work, and then we started our V-stitch rows, okay? And as we got down farther, we ended up with 4 chains in between our V-stitch rows and did that for the length of our cape. And then we did this row of single crochets across the bottom just to make it look pretty. And I'm going to show you how to do that so that it lays pretty at the bottom of our cape. Once you have made your cape at the length that you would like it to be, chain 1, and then we'll single crochet in those 3 double crochets. Now I only have a chain 2 here because that's all the bigger that my swatch is, but you'll have a chain 4 space, and you want to stitch 4 single crochets in that chain 4 space. Okay, then you'll stitch a single crochet in the double crochet, and then 2 single crochets in that chain 1 space of the V-stitch, and then single crochet in the double crochet. And this will help it kind of hold its shape to the curve of the bottom of your shawl. All right, so you're going to stitch 4 single crochets in the chain 4 space. There's 4. Then single crochet in the double crochet of the V-stitch, 2 single crochets in the chain 1 space, and 1 single crochet in the double crochet of that V-stitch. And now, like I said, that's going to help it curve around and form the shapes that look really pretty along the bottom of our cape shawl. Let me show you. So here is the bottom of my cape shawl, my actual one. And you can see it just helps it have a little bit of a curve, and it looks really pretty along the edge. It's not too fancy, it's just enough to give it a little edge. All right, now let me show you how to add the button. So I did decide on this button. I like it a lot, and you're going to want to put it, you have your 3 rows, right? And you're going to want to put it right in the center. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go in those stitches, pull one of those, there we go. I like to make that loop. I think it just makes it more secure. There we go. And I've got 4 buttonholes, so I'm going to do the little X button. And remember, this is going to get used, so make sure you go through stitches and not the holes of the stitches. Losing it here. There we go. And just make a lot of stitches on there because, again, this is going to get used. You want to go through some of the stitches and make sure it's on there secure. And I'm using yarn to match my shawl, but you might want to use yarn that matches the button. That's totally up to you. You just want to make sure it's going to stay put. All right, I'm going to pull that piece of yarn that I made my loop with to the back. There we go. this a little smaller. And now we're just going to tie a nice secure knot. The main thing is the button's going to get lots of use. It's not just decorative, even though it is really pretty. And you don't have to use a wooden button. You can use any button that you like that you think looks pretty. You could even use like a crystal button to add a little extra pizzazz. There we go. And there's no need to make a buttonhole because all you're going to do is just go through the stitch and push it through. Just like that. Isn't that cute? So now my beautiful denim cape shawl is all ready to be worn with whatever summer outfit I decide to wear it with. Nothing fancy, but it can be fancy if you want. It's just the perfect summer or spring extra thing to fancy up your wardrobe.